Sagittarius. When the cosmic tides shift, so does your story. There are moments in life, Sagittarius, when the tides of the cosmos quietly change direction. At first you may not notice, the waves look the same, the horizon unchanged. Yet beneath the surface a powerful current begins to turn, carrying you into a chapter you could not have reached on your own. This is one of those moments. Your story, once bound to familiar rhythms, is shifting. The universe is rewriting the lines, inviting you to step into a role that feels both unfamiliar and deeply destined. Perhaps you've felt it already, that subtle unease, as if your spirit is whispering that what once fit no longer belongs. Or perhaps you felt excitement, a quickening in your chest that tells you something greater is drawing near. The tides are not moving against you. They are carrying you forward, helping you release what has been and embrace what longs to become. This is not change for the sake of change. It is transformation with purpose. Your narrative is evolving because your soul has outgrown the old script. And as the cosmic waters shift, you are given the chance to rise, to expand, to see yourself through a new lens. If these words resonate, hold them close, let them stir your heart, and share their light. Like the tides, wisdom spreads when it is allowed to flow. Subscribe to stay connected, so together we can continue exploring the unfolding story written for you in the stars. Gate 1: The turning of the tides. Recognizing the moment of shift. Sagittarius, every soul reaches a point when the story they have been living no longer reflects who they are becoming. It is not always marked by grand events. Sometimes it arrives quietly, like the moon pulling the ocean into a new rhythm. One day you wake up and realize that the life you once fought to create now feels too small, too narrow, or too heavy. This is the moment when the cosmic tides have begun to shift, and your task is not to resist them but to recognize them. Recognition is powerful because it marks the first step toward transformation. Many people move through life half asleep, clinging to routines, identities, and relationships that no longer align with their spirit. They sense the unease but explain it away. It's just a phase, they say, or I should be grateful. Yet beneath the surface the tides are turning, waiting for them to notice. For Sagittarius, awareness is the key. Your gift is vision, the ability to see the bigger picture. When the universe whispers that your story is changing, you are one of the first to feel it, even if you cannot yet explain it. Think of the way seasons shift. There is no single day that announces the arrival of autumn or spring. Instead, you notice subtle signs. The first cool breeze, the budding of new leaves, the scent of rain. The same is true of the shifts in your story. Perhaps conversations feel different, as if people are speaking to a version of you that no longer exists. Perhaps work that once gave you satisfaction now feels hollow. Or perhaps you notice synchronicities, books, dreams, encounters that seem to point you in a new direction. These are not coincidences, they are signals. Recognizing the turning of the tides also requires honesty. Sometimes we resist acknowledgement because it would demand change, and change feels frightening. You may find yourself clinging to old identities: the loyal partner, the dependable worker, the strong friend. But when the tides shift, these roles may feel constrictive, preventing your spirit from stretching into its next shape. To recognize the moment is to admit, I am not the same, and my life must evolve with me. That admission alone is an act of courage. Sagittarius, your story is not static. It was never meant to be written in stone. It is a living narrative woven by your choices, your growth, and the currents of destiny. To ignore the shift is to stay in a chapter long after its ending. But to recognize it is to turn the page, trusting that what awaits you carries meaning, expansion, and truth. The tides of your life are moving now. You may feel both excitement and fear, but that is natural. The ocean does not ask the shore for permission before it changes direction. It simply moves. And so does your story. Recognize it, honor it, and allow yourself to be carried forward. For the moment you say yes to the shift is the moment your next chapter begins. Gate 2: Releasing the old narrative. Why you cannot stay the same. Sagittarius, once you have recognized that the tides are shifting, the next step is both the hardest and the most liberating. Releasing the old story. The truth is, you cannot step fully into a new chapter while clinging tightly to the old one. And yet, many of us try. We hold on to identities, dreams, and expectations like worn-out garments, afraid that if we set them down we will be left bare. But what the universe is whispering to you now is this: Your story must evolve because you have evolved. Think for a moment about the stories you have carried about yourself. Perhaps you have told yourself that you are the strong one, always holding everything together for others. Or maybe your narrative has been, I am the adventurer, always on the move, never still. At some point these stories served you, they gave you direction, safety, even pride. But as the tides shift, you may feel them growing heavy, like costumes that no longer fit your skin. Release begins with admitting that the stories you wrote in one season of life cannot carry you into the next. This release is not betrayal. It is honor. It is saying thank you to the paths that brought you here, while also saying, it is time to let go. Consider the way a tree sheds its leaves in autumn. The tree does not mourn what it releases. It knows that letting go is the only way it can survive the winter and flourish in spring. The same truth applies to you, Sagittarius. The narratives that once defined you must be surrendered, so that your new growth can take shape. But why is this so difficult? Because our stories give us identity, and identity feels like safety. Even when the old story is painful, at least it is familiar. Many people stay in relationships that no longer serve them, not because love is alive, but because the story of us feels safer than the uncertainty of me. Many stay in jobs that drain them, not because passion thrives there, but because the title or paycheck props up the story of success. These narratives bind us like invisible chains. But Sagittarius, your soul was never meant to be bound. Release is your key to freedom. Let me share with you an example. A woman once came to me who had built her entire identity around being the perfect mother. Her children had grown, left home, and started lives of their own, but she continued to live as though her only purpose was to serve them. She felt lost, empty, and invisible. Her story no longer matched her reality. Through our conversations, she realized she was clinging to a chapter that had already closed. When she finally released that old story, she began writing a new one. She traveled, rediscovered her love for painting, and even started teaching art classes. She told me later, I thought I lost myself when I let go. But in truth, I found myself again. Release is not always grand. Sometimes it is as subtle as no longer forcing yourself to smile when you are unhappy. Sometimes it is choosing to say no to obligations that drain you. Sometimes it is deleting a phone number that keeps pulling you back into patterns of pain. Each act of release, no matter how small, creates space for your story to change. Sagittarius, your story is not just about what you do. It is about who you believe you are. When you release the old narrative, you reclaim authorship. You stop living a script written by fear, tradition, or expectation, and you begin writing one that reflects your evolving soul. This is the deeper meaning of the cosmic tides. They shift not to erase you, but to reveal you. Of course, letting go will stir grief. You may mourn relationships, roles, or dreams that felt like home. That grief is natural, even sacred. But beneath the grief lies freedom. And freedom is your birthright. As you let go, you will feel lighter, more open, more yourself. And one day you will look back at the old story with gratitude, not regret, because it brought you here, to the threshold of something greater. Sagittarius, the tides are shifting, and the old story cannot come with you. Release it with love. Release it with trust. For when you do, the universe will place in your hands a pen, and you will realize your new story is waiting to be written. Gate 3, the unknown horizon. Courage as your compass. Sagittarius, once you have recognized the turning of the tides and released the old story, you stand before the vast horizon of the unknown. This is where fear and faith meet. For most people, uncertainty feels like chaos, but for you, the archer guided by Jupiter's wisdom, uncertainty is sacred space. It is the canvas upon which your next chapter will be painted, and the brush that will carry you across this canvas is courage. Courage does not mean the absence of fear. If anything, courage only exists in the presence of fear. Without fear, there is no risk. Without risk, there is no growth. The moment you release what was, you are left with open space. The old maps no longer apply, and your familiar roles dissolve. This void can feel terrifying, as though you are standing at the edge of a vast ocean with no boat. But Sagittarius, the truth is that the unknown is not empty. It is alive with possibility. And your courage is the vessel that will carry you across it. Think of explorers who set sail centuries ago, leaving the safety of their harbors to chart territories unseen. They faced storms, uncertainty, and the real possibility of failure. Yet they sailed anyway, guided by the stars above and the fire within. Their courage gave birth to discoveries that reshaped the world. You are being called to embody that same spirit, not necessarily by crossing oceans, but by stepping into the uncharted waters of your own life. For you, the unknown horizon may take many forms. It might be the courage to love again after heartbreak, to open your heart knowing it could be hurt but trusting that love is worth the risk. It may be the courage to step away from a stable path and pursue a dream others dismiss as impractical. It may even be the courage to simply admit, I don't know who I am becoming yet, but I am willing to find out. That willingness itself is an act of bravery. Let me share a story. A man once told me that he had stayed in a corporate job for 20 years, even though his true passion was writing. It pays the bills, he said, and people respect me. But the respect felt hollow, and the work left him drained. One day he reached his breaking point. He quit even though he had no clear plan. Those around him said he was reckless, even irresponsible. But he began to write every day, pouring his soul into words. A year later he published his first book and soon after his second. Today he says, I have never felt more alive. I had to lose everything safe to find everything true. His courage carried him across the horizon into a story that was waiting for him all along. Sagittarius, this is what the unknown asks of you. To stand in its vastness without demanding immediate answers. To walk forward even when your knees shake. To trust that the tides are shifting not to drown you, but to carry you to a new shore. Courage is your compass, and faith is your anchor. But here is a truth many overlook. Courage is built in small moments, not only in grand leaps. It is the courage to speak your truth in a conversation where silence feels safer. It is the courage to say no when everyone expects yes. It is the courage to try something new without needing to be perfect. Each act of courage strengthens your spirit, preparing you for the greater leaps that will come. The unknown horizon will also test your patience. We often want immediate clarity, demanding that the universe reveal the entire plan before we take a step. But life does not work that way. The path is revealed as you walk it. Each step uncovers the next. Courage means taking the step, even when the road ahead is hidden in mist. And in this process, something extraordinary happens. You discover that the unknown is not against you. It is for you. It strips away the illusions of control and teaches you to trust your inner wisdom. You begin to realize that even if you cannot predict outcomes, you can trust yourself to meet whatever comes. This is the gift of the tides. They teach you that you are not defined by what you hold on to, but by how you rise in the face of change. Sagittarius, your soul has always been wired for horizons. You were never meant to live in the confines of certainty. The shifting tides are not punishment. They are alignment. They are calling you to become more than you have been. To live a story braver, freer, and more expansive than before. The unknown horizon is your proving ground, and courage is the bow that will send your arrow into the future. So step forward. Trust the pull of the tides. Aim your arrow at the horizon of possibility, and release it with faith. For when the cosmic tides shift, so does your story. And the story that awaits you is far greater than the one you leave behind. Gate 4, living the new chapter. Alignment, purpose, and expansion. Sagittarius, when the cosmic tides shift and you summon the courage to cross the unknown horizon, what emerges is not just a new experience. It is a new chapter of your life. This chapter is not about proving yourself to the world or living up to old expectations. It is about alignment, purpose, and expansion. It is about living in harmony with who you truly are, not who you were told to be. The universe has not carried you through the work of renewal, release, and courage just so you could repeat old cycles. It has brought you here so that you may live in authenticity, embody your wisdom, and expand into your destiny. Living in alignment means your outer life begins to mirror your inner truth. The conversations you have, the choices you make, and the paths you walk reflect not obligation but resonance. You no longer say yes out of guilt or fear. You say yes because your heart knows it is aligned. You no longer say no out of rebellion. You say no because your spirit knows its boundaries. For Sagittarius, alignment is freedom. It is when your actions and your essence finally move in the same rhythm. Purpose emerges naturally from alignment. Too many people search desperately for their life purpose, as if it were a hidden treasure buried somewhere outside themselves. But purpose is not something you chase, it is something you embody. When you live in your truth, purpose flows. It might reveal itself in the way you guide others with your wisdom, or in the way your creativity sparks light in those around you. For some, purpose is raising a family with love. For others, it is building a movement that transforms society. For you, Sagittarius, purpose is about growth, exploration, and truth. Wherever you are expanding into greater wisdom and freedom, you are living your purpose. Expansion is the natural reward of living in alignment and purpose. You begin to notice synchronicities, doors opening that you never thought possible. Opportunities arrive not because you chase them desperately, but because you have cleared space for them. Expansion can mean material blessings, yes, new jobs, abundance, recognition, but more importantly, it means spiritual growth. You expand your perspective, your compassion, your capacity to hold joy and even sorrow with grace. You are no longer confined to the small box of the old story. You have become vast, like the sky that has always symbolized your spirit. Let me share an example. A woman once told me that after years of hiding her spirituality, because she feared judgment, she finally embraced it openly. She began speaking about it, writing about it, sharing it. At first, she lost some relationships, but she gained a deeper connection with herself. Within a year, she found a community of like-minded souls who celebrated her authenticity. She said, "For the first time, I feel like I am living the life I was born to live. That is what it means to live the new chapter." The tides shifted, and because she embraced the change, her story expanded beyond what she could have imagined. Sagittarius, the same awaits you. The universe is offering you a life that is bigger than your fears, more authentic than your old identities, and richer than your doubts ever allowed you to believe. But you must choose to live it. You must choose alignment over appearances, purpose over performance, and expansion over comfort. The tides can carry you forward, but you are the one who must walk the shore, step by step, into the unfolding of your new story. And here is a truth that will anchor you. Your story is not just for you. When you live authentically, you light a path for others. Your courage inspires courage. Your freedom awakens freedom. The ripples of your alignment extend far beyond your own life. This is why the universe asks you to rise, not for ego but for service. You are part of a greater weaving, a collective evolution. When you step into your new chapter, you become a catalyst for others to do the same. Sagittarius, the tides have turned. The old story has been released. The unknown horizon has been crossed. Now the new chapter unfolds before you, waiting for you to live it fully. Walk into it with trust. Live it with joy. Expand into it with courage. For when the cosmic tides shift, your story is not just rewritten, it is reborn. And this rebirth carries within it the promise of freedom, fulfillment, and a destiny only you can embody. A story reborn under shifting tides. Sagittarius, your journey through the shifting tides is not merely about change. It is about transformation at the soul level. You have walked through renewal, shedding the layers that no longer serve. You have embraced release, letting go of stories that kept you bound. You have faced the unknown horizon with courage, trusting that even without a map, your spirit would guide you. And now you stand in the radiance of a new chapter, aligned, purposeful, and expansive. The tides of the cosmos do not move randomly. They move with wisdom, shaping you into who you are meant to become. Each challenge, each ending, each uncertain step has carried you closer to the truth of your story. You are not who you once were, and that is a gift. You are freer, wiser, and more open to the possibilities that await. As you walk forward, remember, your story is not written in stone. It is a living river flowing and shifting, just as the tides do. You hold the pen now, Sagittarius. The universe has cleared the canvas, and what comes next will be painted with the colors of your courage, your authenticity, and your light. If these words resonate with you, let them ripple outward. Share them with someone who may need to hear that their tides are shifting too. And subscribe to continue walking with me through the wisdom of the stars, as together we explore the sacred patterns that guide our lives. The tides are turning, Sagittarius, and your story reborn is ready to be lived.